starts withdrawing. His body language makes you think he isn't telling the truth, and you start distrusting him. Body language certainly isn't a new phenomenon. People have used body language to send messages since the beginning of time. Before people developed language as a communications tool, they used body language to make their needs and desires known to other people. Body language, which is also known as kinesics, describes human interaction, excluding written and spoken words. This broad definition encompasses everything from the most subtle raising of an eyebrow to the precise movements of the sophisticated sign language used by people who are hearing impaired. Some nonverbal gestures are universal symbols. The chair at the head of a table has long been reserved for the leader of the group. More recently, this position of honor has been extended to the host of the table. Another universal gesture is raising the hands above the head, which has long been a symbol of surrender and submission. Some gestures are even more expressive than words. Picture the image of a person slapping her forehead, accompanied by a loud groan. Don't you immediately know that she's remembered something she was supposed to do? The gesture is actually a rebuke to herself for the oversight. Other well-known gestures include saluting, tipping one's hat, shaking hands, shrugging shoulders, waving goodbye, forming an O with the thumb and forefinger, and blowing a kiss. Body language translates almost instantaneously. Research shows that even when exposure to a situation is reduced to 1/24th of a second, the time it takes to show a single frame of film, people often grasp what it means. At 3/24ths of a second, comprehension goes up dramatically. In fact, understanding increases up to slightly more than 1 second of exposure. The ability to understand body language is apparently not related to IQ, the ability to take tests, or the grades that you make in school. Practice tends to improve a person's ability to understand body language. People tested for body language comprehension generally score higher on subsequent tests than on their first tries. Researchers in the area of nonverbal communication claim that as much as 90% of the meaning transmitted between two people in a face-to-face communication can come through nonverbal channels. That means that only 10% of the meaning is conveyed with words alone. If these figures are even close to accurate, and research supports that they are, then the importance of nonverbal communication is overwhelming. Sigmund Freud, an early believer in the important role body language plays in the communication process, didn't trust the spoken word. He based much of his work on the assumption that words hide more than they reveal. Freud believed, as many researchers do, that even though we can't rely on the truth of words, nonverbal behavior often does project truth. Through kinesic behavior, people express their conscious and subconscious emotions, desires, and attitudes. Because body language is stimulated by a subconscious need to express inner feelings, it's often more reliable than verbal communication and may even contradict verbal expressions. Organizations depend on the effective communication of ideas to stay in business. Unless employees understand nonverbal body language, they're losing over 50% of the message being communicated by their coworkers. By increasing your awareness of kinesic behavior, you can read the emotions and attitudes of fellow employees, supervisors, customers, and others you interact with inside and outside your organization. This increased rapport and understanding leads to increased trust and productivity. Understanding body language has two benefits. Observing it in others can help you more accurately interpret their messages. And you can also use it yourself to reinforce the words you speak. The better you're able to transmit messages so others receive them as you intended, the more effective you'll be. It pays then to be acutely aware of the nonverbal messages you